always only had 3 technicians there, and we now have expanded to 5 technicians there on a full-time basis. We have employee-wise, we're fully staffed there, our technicians, but we definitely are working on increasing the number.
Politics, but more specifically, local politics, because yes, too many shop owners aren't aware of what needs to happen, the mountains that need to be moved. And so why don't we get involved currently or before we get there, before you have to add that extra bay? Why don't you actually get involved and know who you're voting for? See if they're repair shop friendly, see if they're small business friendly. Welcome to another episode of the Garage Grid Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Herlock, co-owner of AA Shop Marketing, a digital marketing company for auto repair shops. And we're just trying to help as many shops as possible. That's the purpose of this podcast. That's the purpose of our company. And to prove it, we threw out there a marketing playbook out there that you can go download, go listen to it for yourself. It's published, that webinar, and you can go get it at addi.me/2026. That's addi.me/2026. But here with this part of the podcast, we're trying to help shops who are trying to help themselves. We're trying to help shops that are trying to grow, trying to do more. If you aren't one of those shops, then this podcast isn't for you, maybe. But if you are one of those shops, then you need to keep listening to not just this episode, but all the episodes to make sure that you're liking and subscribing. And on this episode, I get to have the conversation with Smith Automotive out of Iowa. Rusty and Melissa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I don't know why I said us. It's just me. You're the us. I'm the me. So thank you for joining me, both of you. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your shop?
That you or Melissa?
First?
Melissa, that you or I?
I was gonna say I'm usually the talker. We started our shop 18 years ago in Pleasant Hill, our first location. He has always worked on cars. He was a drag racer back in the day. Always worked on cars as a side job and worked as IT full time. Back 18 years ago, he decided to take the leap and start his own business. So we built from the ground up. We bought a building, we renovated it, and started in a 2-bay shop of that building. We eventually expanded it into a 6-bay shop.
I want to jump in. There's more for you to tell me, but I want to go back to that 18-year period. He comes back home and says, I'm quitting and I'm opening up a new shop. I always find that dynamic interesting. I always think about what that family conversation sounds like. Do you remember?
It was actually me talking him into it. So in the IT world 18 years ago was when things started working remotely. They realized, things can be done remotely and we don't need all these people in the office doing these things. And so Rusty was one of those people who'd been there longer. So he was getting laid off at his job all the time because they were replacing them with younger people who could work remotely instead of the experienced people. So he was in between jobs a lot during this time. And we also were expecting our first child. So it was a time, starting a business was always a dream of his, but he had a little bug in his ear. That was his dad telling him that the corporate world will take care of you. You need to join the corporate world, stay in the corporate world. Don't do your own business. Well, his dad's tune changed when he was forced into early retirement from a company that he spent 36 years with. And so that also helped change Rusty's tune, and he decided to take the leap with me also being the bug in his ear, telling him, let's just do it. Like, yes, we are, we're expecting our first child. We have a lot going on. I was working a full-time job. I just got done with graduate school. And I just encouraged him to take that leap and do it. What I didn't realize at the time would be my role in the new business. I thought the new business was his gig, his thing. I spent 7 years in college to earn a doctorate's degree, and my plan was not anything in the automotive industry. That was not my plan. Doctorate in physical therapy, so medical field, not the automotive industry.
Oh,
it wasn't.
That's why you can talk about his broken thumb or hand, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we've had several life events that have happened along the way that have changed things for us. Things happen and your goals change and your outlook on life changes. Our
Well, the
first
first thing
daughter,
that changed was you said you were about to have a child and you ended up having
yes.
children.
So our first child actually, not to get too emotional, but our first child was stillborn at the end of my pregnancy. So we spent, while we were in the middle of remodeling our shop, our first daughter passed away. So what we learned is building our shop was, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into that. We were first time greeting parents, and we put everything we had into that business. And ultimately, I ended up walking away from the medical field and helping Rusty run the business. And it didn't start out as our dream together, but it became our dream together because
Wow.
of what we were going through personally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That was a curveball. I was not expecting
Yeah,
that
it sure was.
So,
And then,
so
and then
silent.
2 years later, we had twins. So having twins, having two at once also changes your life. Having the twins, I completely at that point stepped away from my full-time job and began working for the business only, for the
Okay.
shop only.
All right. What was your role back then?
My goal when we started the business, was for Rusty to run the business by himself, and I would work a
No, your role. Your
Yeah, what
role.
was your role? And what was your
my
role?
role.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you were into it then full time, what were you doing versus what was Rusty doing?
We were a one-man shop then. We might
Okay.
have had an employee by then.
No.
No, we were still just a one-man shop. So
Yeah.
Rusty was out working on cars, doing the
Office.
phones, helping customers as he could. I would help write invoices, help deal with the
Mhm.
customers as they walked in. And then, at that time, we didn't have many employees, but I was doing all the bookkeeping and
We couldn't afford an employee.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
at the beginning, yeah. Starting out, we had to buy the business and build it and construct. We bought an empty building that was like a warehouse. So we had to make it a shop. So
Sure.
we had to put a lot of time into that.
And we didn't know we had to fight the city and deal with the city, and we learned a lot doing that.
So that reminds me of an episode that we had in a panel episode that we had in October, where we had 3 different shop owners on talking about a particular topic. And the October of 2025 topic was politics, but more specifically, local politics. Because yes, too many shop owners aren't aware of what needs to happen, the mountains that need to be moved. And so why don't we get involved currently or before we get there, before you have to add that extra bay? Why don't you actually get involved and know who you're voting for? See if they're repair shop friendly, see if they're small business friendly. So during that panel, you got to watch the panel. During the panel, one of the guys on the panel had to get up and leave in the middle of the panel because when we scheduled the panel, this wasn't the case, but after we scheduled the panel and he joined us, he was called to court for a criminal violation of cutting down a tree on his property.
Yeah.
So if that sounds like you, then get involved and be aware of your local politics for this exact reason. So what mountains did you have to move to make it a shop?
So we had no idea. I finally had to go to this. You try not to work with the city if you don't have to, but we had to ultimately go there because we were changing the business that went on there. We knew that we had the right zoning. We went up to the shop or up to the city and told them what we were going to do with it. And they told me I had to sprinkle the building with fire sprinklers. And that was going to be like $200,000, right? And I'm like just crushed after I leave there. So I come to find out, I had a friend of mine that worked at a sprinkler company I went to school with. They brought their guys out and they laughed. They said, "We've never sprinkled anything this small." So we start digging into it and we look at the building codes and the city codes and find out that the guy at the city wanted it sprinkled, does not have to be sprinkled. And I was so mad. I mean, that's wrong for the guy to tell me that. But it was a relief and we moved on. And we found out our building was 6,000 square feet. It could have been 12,000 square feet before it had to have a sprinkler system. So we got past the hurdles with the city. And, you know, I've always known that you don't really go asking for trouble or asking for advice. You do it. And if there's problems after, you catch the wrath of it. So we got everything done. We got it opened up. And as soon as we were established, any improvement we made, We never asked the city. And so far, we've been good with that. I mean, I don't think they want you in business. They want your money, but they don't want you to be here. They just fight you tooth and nail. So we got through it, and everything's been good. I made a acquaintance with the city inspector. We'd work on his car actually, and I remember one time I was cutting out a firewall because I was expanding, and he happened to stop in. I'm like, oh no, I'm in trouble. He never said anything. We just kept we started in the back of our building that was 6,000 square feet with 2 bays, and then we kept moving forward and took over the rest of the building.
Okay.
So, quite the time.
Right.
I did have a time.
I won't ask for a square footage update for you because we don't need to go there.
You
got 5 bays now? 5 lifts?
6
lifts?
And 3 of the bays that we added were 10-foot ceilings.
Hmm.
So we took the roof off a 60-foot section of the building, had a structural engineer draw up like we put a knee wall on top of it, and the city was fighting me. But I got a structural engineer to sign off on it, and then we put off doing it for a couple of years. Remember, Melissa?
Yeah.
And then when we went to do it, he died.
The guy that was against you doing it.
No, the city, the structural engineer died.
Okay.
In this time when we were thinking of doing it.
Okay.
So the city was fighting me about it. I'm like,
you had to start over.
We were going to add on to the building. We're going to raise the roof up to 16-foot ceilings.
Yep.
We had drawings from the engineer.
Yep.
That we hired, a structural engineer, and everything was good.
Yep.
I think we already submitted them to the city.
Okay.
But then we held off. We didn't do it right away.
Got it. Then he passed.
And then I went to the city and they were fighting me. I'm like, there's signed off plans. You got a copy of them. And they ultimately let me do it.
Good.
So
okay.
that was another hurdle we had with them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that you need to be, every shop needs to be aware of. I hear the stories all the time, and sometimes they're just nightmare stories. There's a shop that I've talked to, who they know that they needed to move. They outgrew that location. They didn't want to be in that particular section of town anymore. And they wanted to be in a different section to be able to attract a different type of clientele. And they ended up having to shop their shop, if you will. They had to pitch to 3 different municipalities until one local municipality said, okay, we'll take a repair shop. The other 2 said, no, we don't want any more repair shops. And so, I find that interesting. I've actually also talked to shop owners who say, hey, I like that because then I'm already here. I don't need to worry about new competitors. But my attitude is be the better shop. You don't have to worry about new competitors. How about that?
Yeah.
We had some situations where part of our parking lot was gravel. And they told me that I couldn't park on gravel. But in the zoning I was in, there was like 10 businesses parking on gravel. So I went around, took pictures of all that, sent it to the city. Never heard anything back. They don't.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of pointing out their information. Now, this isn't a repair shop story, but there was I owned a building in a municipality where there was a historic board plus the board that you needed to get things approved of before you can make any changes. And what I learned actually the hard way, so the second or third time around, I flooded the zone, if you will, with information about the improvement I was making. I gave the first board 26 to 30 page document, both two-sided color copies. I gave them all their own copies. I just loaded a large stack of papers. Here, this is why I think I should do this change. Dollars to donuts, none of them read it. They just got the large paperwork and they said, okay, let's just approve this. This guy's obviously spent a lot of time making sure that it's good, right? And so kind of like what you were saying, Rusty, that's what it reminded me of, was that you went out and took the pictures and you said, here you go. And they're like, okay.
And they don't care how much money you spend. It's like they don't want you, but they got your tax dollars.
Yeah.
We just went to a meeting, was it a year and a half ago, where a guy was parking RVs or travel trailers up on his lot, which is technically illegal. It's got to be paved or asphalt.
Yeah.
And to this day, nothing has happened from it. They choose what they want to enforce.
Well, and that's also a challenge, right? That's another reality. All right. So I interrupted your story. We kind of, that was my fault. Let's get back to your story.
Okay, you go ahead.
So you're at, your year 16. I mean, when did you actually do that upgrade? What was that year?
13 is when we,
so 5 years in.
Yes.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about those early years where you were juggling twins, right?
Right. And she's got another dead blow for you that you're probably not expecting.
Yeah, that's in 2013.
Go ahead.
So while we were doing this, raising the roof in that part of the section of the shop, we were also moving our office from a very small space in the back of the building to the front, where we actually had like a large waiting area, a break room, and 2 offices up front. So we were taking over the front space in the building. So we were expanding tremendously from where we started in the back of the building. And I happened to be pregnant with our 4th and final child at this time in 2013. And we had these plans. Like, I designed the front office so I could, when our child was born, I could bring him to work with me. And my office was huge, so I could have a pack and play, and I could have a high chair, and I could have all this stuff right there, and he could just come to work with me. I was going to work the front office. I was going to be the service advisor. This was going to be great. And then our son was born, and he changed all of that for us. In the middle of this remodel project, our son was born, and at 5 months old, he was diagnosed with cancer. So that completely flipped our world upside down. I was then pulled away. So I was being a stay-at-home mom at that time with my twins, plus working at the business and doing what I could. Spending a lot of time at the shop, grandma and papa helping out with the kids. And then my youngest son was born, and with his cancer diagnosis, that pulled me out of my home for 2 years and out of the business for 2 years. I had to stay at his side. He had to go through cancer treatment, and he had to have a liver transplant. So for 2 years, we were in the hospital more than we were home, and I did not leave his side at that time. So I was pulled away from my children. I had to have a friend of ours stepped up and nannied my children for us. She also helped out at the shop. Um, and people had to step up at the shop and help us out because I had to be at my son's side to literally keep him alive. So that really put a wrench in our plans because I had planned on being there and running the front office. So we had to find somebody that we could trust and find somebody quickly to help us out, to help keep our business going. Because at that time, the business is our income. So
Business, the income is actually grown to the point where, you can't actually be staffing the calls and turning the wrench in the back. Like it's not possible. There's too many calls coming in. There's too many different things going on in the back that as far as the repairs go. Were you just one technician at that point, Rusty, or was there more than just you at that point?
I think we had 2 at that time, didn't we?
2 plus
yeah,
you?
in addition to you, so you would be a third.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And so he got his liver transplant. What happened next?
I spent a lot of time away from home and away from the shop.
Yeah.
First of all, tell him that his type of cancer in a transplant, it was treated in Omaha. No matter where we were at in the United States, Omaha was the place.
Yeah, Omaha, Nebraska was
close enough to us. It's 146 miles from my shop to the hospital parking lot. I know that by heart.
Okay.
Rusty drove there every other weekend. So when Lachlan actually had his transplant, we were in Omaha, Nebraska for several months. And I had people bringing me my children so I could see them, bringing me the twins. And then Rusty would come over every other weekend so we could see each other. And we had service advisor, we had a service advisor there that could help run the shop during the day. So Rusty could work on cars and not have to run the front.
Right. Okay. So what happened? How long were you, what point did you come home? Or what point did you get back into the shop? Another year later?
It would have been, another year after his transplant. I was out for 2 years. I mean, I was doing stuff in the background remotely.
But he's cancer free now.
Yes, we no evidence of disease is the term that they use with his type of cancer.
Okay.
Once you've been diagnosed with cancer, his type of cancer, it will come back in one form or another. It just depends on what that is and when. So it's and with the liver transplant, it's a lifelong treatment. So medication labs frequently. He's still at 12 years old. I still call him my full-time job, taking care of him and literally keeping him alive.
Okay.
And the business is the background that also keeps me busy.
But Melissa did a great job because what was it, 20% survival rate?
23% chance of
That's right.
survival with a liver transplant.
And he's still here today.
And he's 12 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good work so far, and you keep tackling it the way you need to. And it sounds like the business that you've grown has gotten like it's provided for you, right? It's actually given you the space to be able to do it. You've done it in spite of that also, but
Yes.
it's given you the space to do it. How was the business growing back then? It was all word of mouth?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it was all word of mouth then. We didn't do any advertising.
Okay.
Like we do today.
Yeah,
So
we didn't do any advertising like we do today. I mean,
We didn't track it. We didn't do
a
anything.
website probably, no
Okay.
Facebook page.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have any of that.
So what was the call that said, wait a minute, what was the wake up moment where you're like, okay, let's actually increase our marketing efforts because we want to do more? Like what did that look like? When did that come into the view?
Well, Rusty was about ready to throw in the towel in about 2012 because the public is nasty, can be. We have some great customers. Public can be bad. And I was about ready to throw in the towel and go get a job. We just weren't cutting it. And I had to.
Wait a minute, that was 2012.
Yeah, that was
That was 2012.
13 is when we expanded.
Right.
So hold on. So I'm trying to do this. That was only what, 3 or 4 years in.
Yep.
Okay. So that was also while your son was getting treatment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2013.
Okay. All right. Keep going.
And we had some great friends step in and help us out, show us the way.
Okay.
And we made some changes and said, hey, we're going to stay in this. And we have been clawing our way through it ever since.
Okay. So you made the processes easier at the shop, or more manageable, more efficient, and
Yes.
you found a way to deal with those.
And the turning point was pulling Rusty out of the shop and making him work on his business instead of in his business. So I had to literally take his tools out of the shop and move them home to get him to focus on building the business that we wanted.
Okay.
Because being the technician and working on the cars was what he's always done.
Yep.
And being the business owner was very difficult for him.
Now you brought them home, but did you have to hide them? And if so, Rusty, have you found them yet?
The tools? No, I got. I use them all.
Found him right now. We couldn't use him because his left arm is broken. So
Right.
It was a tough thing to do. That's like when we were speaking earlier of a car I was working on last night. I really like doing it. I don't really like running a business day to day doing that part of it. I'm more hands on, not a office numbers guy. I'd love to fix things.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I've heard of situations where people hire a CEO so they can continue to be the technician.
that was me.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
So tell me about that.
We did have other business owners that stepped forward for us, and they came up and they took us under their wing, and we were committed to growing our business. We just didn't know how to go about doing it. So other business owners, in the automotive industry, one was another shop owner, but in the automotive industry, other business owners helped us see that, this is what we need to do to be able to expand and grow. And they helped us. And that first step was pulling Rusty out of the shop and working on his business instead of in the business. And that was a difficult task that took me about 3 years to accomplish before I got him completely out of the shop. He still does help with some things. And like if we have a technician down, he's able to step in and help out. But getting him to understand the business side of it was our turning point, and getting other business owners to help me push him out of his comfort zone.
Okay. And today, are you the CEO, or are you a joint team on the CEO?
Well, technically we're co-owners, but everyone will tell you that there's the boss and then there's the real boss. And I would be the real boss.
Like
Okay.
I said, I'm the visionary. I got it going. You guys take it from there.
Okay. All right. And so what is the vision?
The vision is to keep it going. There are so many corporate places coming in trying to buy mom and pop shops up. And not only are they doing it in like heating and cooling, they're after us. I I have kids coming up. I don't know if they want the business or not. I would never force it upon them. If
Yep.
they want it, fine. If not, just going to keep it going until Melissa gets sick of it because I'll be
Okay.
out of it.
Well, what we have spent the last 3 years doing is we have spent the last 3 years putting a team in place, especially at we'll get into this, but the second location was also not in our plans. But in the last 3 years, we have spent time developing a team, putting together a team that can run our business for us on the day-to-day side, and we can do all the things in the background. So hiring a service manager at our Pleasant Hill location that can run the shop on the daily basis for us. So we don't have to be there. Well, I guess we do 10-hour days now, but we don't have to be there 10 hours a day, 40 hours a week. Um, they can handle those things by themselves. And I can now work from home because now you can do everything remotely with all the systems we have. So I'm able to work from home completely. I no longer have an office at the shop. Don't have a desk with a phone on it that has my name on it anymore.
Yep.
And Rusty's office got moved to the break room because his next step is that he will be working from home completely. So we're
Okay.
getting there slowly.
Have you thought about that? Because I mean, you're going to be working from home in the same building, both of you in the same building. Is that going to be okay? Is that going to
Oh
be a
no,
good thing?
we have separate locations at home. My office
Okay.
is in the house.
Okay.
And Rusty has his office in the building. So there is definitely space between us because we are not allowed to work in the same office space anymore. We did that for a whole lot of years. We shared office space. We worked together, a lot of hours a day. And then we learned during COVID times with our son having a liver transplant, he has a compromised immune system. So when COVID hit, his medical team put us on lockdown. Rusty was allowed to leave the house. The rest of us were not. And I learned that I can do my job from home, with everything being available remotely now. Um, like my payroll system in the past, I had to physically be at the shop to do my payroll or log in remotely to a computer. And now that there's new, online systems that I can do that from anywhere, I can do it from my phone now. Things have changed over, the last 15 years, 18 years, I guess, that we've been doing this. Things have changed. So, but that time of COVID when we got put on lockdown and not knowing, what was happening in the world at the beginning, that taught us that I can work from home. So I've slowly transitioned into I'm completely at home. I go to the shop when I need to
Yep.
for employee meetings, that kind of things, but I don't have to
Right.
be there.
And the two of you are doing all the hiring for both locations? Well, do you actually have, and so is that like one of the next things that you're going to try to duplicate? Get somebody at those locations being able to do the hiring? Because then you won't be tethered to that location at all. It really would be freestanding. Am I getting ahead of myself?
Yeah, we haven't thought that far into it.
Okay.
I mean,
All
because
right.
like right now, I mean, where we are, so second location was an opportunity that arose to us. Wasn't in our plans, but the location that we purchased, the second location we purchased, was a shop that Rusty started at back in the day when he was in high school. And the opportunity came to us. It was the same gentleman that he worked with here at this shop. Um, they were ready to retire and looking for somebody to purchase it. And we kicked around the idea for a while, and I was like, no, it's crazy. And then we decided, why not? It was the right time, the right place, and the right opportunity. So we decided to jump in. And And picking up the second location, so our first location, is a 6-bay shop. This is a 2-bay shop. So this is 3 employees at most in this building is all we will ever have. Currently, we have 2. So adding this second location was not a huge addition to our team that we already have. So had it been
What's
the
the drive
reverse, I'm
time
not
between
sure
the
I
two?
would have done it. But
What's the drive? 10 minutes? Okay. Yeah. So it's in some ways you can actually have some customers in the middle who could call the one location and be like, you know what, we're going to take you in, but we're going to actually send you over to this location.
Yep.
Can you do that?
Yep. And
Okay.
that happens sometimes if, one shop's busy and we can't get them in. We will send them over to the location or have them, the customer bring the car to
Well,
the
just
location
do you
that's
actually
closest
send them
and-
over, or do you just book them and then tell them to go to that
Yeah,
address?
No.
it depends on the situation and the customer.
Yeah.
But like if,
Okay.
if we don't do tires at this location. So we have the customers drop their car off here, but we tell them, we're taking.
And the here, by the way, just for those that are listening in, the here is your new location. You're at the new location.
Yeah, I'm at the new location right now.
All right.
Yeah.
So there are certain things as a smaller shop you can't do.
We don't have the room. We don't have the room.
We
For
just don't have the space for the tire equipment here.
So after you get both locations running even more smoothly than you already have them running and kind of dialed in, now that you've done a second location, is a third one on the way? Hello, Mr. Visionary. Hello.
Nope. Rusty's next move is Rusty wants to become a locksmith. Not a locksmith for cars.
Okay.
And the thing that got me on that is I want to do it for my shops. I would go around to shops that I know. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be the guy at 1:00 in the morning unlocking your car at the airport.
Right.
But that intrigues me to keep my brain learning. And the thing that got me on that is we program modules in cars.
Right.
I had to get a locksmith ID, and I have the insurance certificate for it. So why not try it?
Interesting. So it'd be like a mobile piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, maybe at my shop and maybe mobile. Yeah.
You might have an inside track when another shop is about to sell. I'm just putting that out there. I'm not suggesting that would be a thing, but
not at this time.
Well, our children did tell us that, now that we bought a second location, they're like, well, there's 3 of us. So now you need a third shop to leave to the third one. I was like, oh.
I had the same thought.
But,
I don't know. Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. And who knows what the future holds.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's good. I find that to be interesting. You mentioned the shops that you were working with, the other shop owners that kind of took you under their wing and kind of showed you to work on instead of in. And are you still part of? Do you still have some of those friendships?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, lifelong friends. Family.
Good.
More like. And we.
Right.
I mean, frequently and then in that, in those 18 years, we have met a lot of other shop owners. And we just do, we do official meetings, but we also do, dinner together, go on trips together through our parts vendors. And having that time with those shop owners is our therapy time. You find people who you can swap stories with, and you don't have to explain yourself because they completely understand. And that's our therapy time, is our time with other shop owners.
Okay.
We all fight the same battles, we found out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's worthwhile sharing stories just like this.
We do. We bounce
as often as possible.
We bounce stories off of them, situations all the time. They're a phone call away.
And how far away are they from your shop? Are they local, or are they other states? Or are they...
No, local. One's 20 miles. One's probably 4 miles.
Yeah,
so it's all an Iowa-based network, maybe a little bit into Nebraska.
Yeah, most of them that we're very close to are here within Iowa, 2 hours or less. Most of them are within a 20-minute drive from us.
And how did you get connected to them?
We have a few hours away, but
how did that connection even start?
Through a local organization here that does meetings. Midwest Auto Care Alliance.
Okay.
So we started out as ASA members, and then Milwaukee started.
Got it.
Yeah. been very involved in that and have met a lot of friends along the way, and friends that have become more like family. So
Nice. I like it. I like it. Okay, so what challenges are you? The new location is a year old, months, and so what challenges are you dealing with in trying to ramp that up?
The people that we bought from had no customer database per se. They handwrote
Mhm.
all their tickets, no advertising. It's kind of like we bought a building and we're starting over. So that's the challenge is we're trying to get awareness in the neighborhood that we're here. We're doing advertising and it's helping. We had to build a new website. We had to change our website name.
Mhm.
So a lot of challenges that way. And slowly but surely it is building up.
Was it just the person that you bought it from? Was it just him, or did you keep some of his
No,
employees?
there were two owners and they were both the employees.
Okay,
So
and they're gone.
yeah,
Yeah, so one of the things you had to do is you had to go out and find new employees, which is
correct.
never easy. What
Correct.
did that process look like?
We took one from another shop ultimately, and then
So we had a conversation with our employees. We do weekly meetings, so they were all kept in the loop that this was happening and what was going on. We were very transparent with our employees, and we actually had a technician that stepped forward and he said that he would be willing to come over here and be the technician, until we can find somebody permanently or whatever the situation arises. And
Was he vying for the shop foreman position or something like that, or was he just
no, it's because it's just one tech over here. It's a two-bay shop, so we just had one technician that we wanted to come over here to start with until we can build up the business and potentially get a second technician over here. And um, hiring someone new and bringing them into a brand new shop, we didn't know how that would look. So we had a technician who stepped forward and offered to come over here. In the meantime, we did hire more technicians, but we soon found out that the technician that stepped forward over here, actually, it was one of the best moves he could have made. Bringing him over here he's our best well-rounded technician, and bringing him over here has been amazing for him and for us. It has helped him become a better technician, and he actually gets to deal with customers here because this shop is very different. Even though they're only less than 10 minutes away, the shop here is very different, and the customers walk right into the shop area. There's no separate entrance into the office. So, I mean, the office is right there, right around the corner, but you get interaction with the customers here as a technician, where at our other shop, you don't necessarily get that on a daily basis.
are you going to look to try to adjust that to try to change the flow, or do you want
No,
your
the customers here love that.
okay?
This location, that's what they're accustomed to. This has been an automotive repair shop for 50 years here at
Mhm.
this new location, and they are accustomed to the owners being the employees, being the service advisors, being the technicians. So they are accustomed to walking right in and talking to
Mhm.
whoever it is working on their car. So it has, and the customers love it. That's what they're used to, and we've continued that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
there
have
is
two
a
thoughts
service
about that.
advisor
Like
over
I
here also, but yes.
All right, so I'm sorry, real quick. You have two technicians now and a service advisor at that location, or just
No,
one
just
technician?
one
One tech.
technician and one service advisor.
Okay. And I appreciate when someone stops to talk with me. That's great. But the other side of that coin is, did they stop while they were working on my car, and did they get back into it exactly where they left off?
Yeah.
Or did I get charged that time for that they stopped working on my car to talk to somebody else?
Yeah, so the service advisor helps step in with that a little bit. If he's in the middle of a big job, he's not going to, you can see the customers coming in the window. There's a big picture window here in the office. They can see the customers coming in. So if the technician is in the middle of a big job, he will go out there and intercept, you know, the customer and not let them interrupt him. But we've been building up the business here. So, this shop, I mean, it is only a two-bay shop. So There are weeks that we are completely swamped and other times where we're a little slow. So he does have that time to interact with the customers. But yes, these two have learned to work well over here. The service advisor and technician have learned to work well together and have learned the clientele and what they expect when they come in.
And physically, there's not really a way to change that.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
we could build a partial wall to go directly in, but it would take away some of the shop space.
And you can't build out front of the shop.
No, it's a small,
Probably a zoning issue.
limited the way it is. It's very limited here space wise.
Yeah. And we knew that going in. We knew it was small.
Yeah. I mean, and even in the 7 months that we've been here, we far exceeded what we expected in sales. I just going based on the numbers of the previous years from the previous owners, we have far exceeded that, and we've been very happy with the way things are going. We just need to keep it going and growing.
Do you have, well, okay, that was going to be my next question. You said going and growing. You're not at capacity currently. You have more, you could take on more cars. You could potentially add a second technician.
Yes.
So can you double in size there? And then you're maxed out at that location? Or how much bigger can you get? Like that's.
Or if we have 2 technicians, we're maxed out.
Well, and you're keeping them busy. Maxed out here, but what we're doing, like numbers wise, yes, we could double what we're doing here with a second technician, and we could make it work within the space.
Okay.
It's just going to take time from going from no database to building our own, just like it took a long time at the other store.
Yep. Now at the other store, how are you doing there? I mean, what are the, you don't need to give me specifics on the numbers, but you've got, is there room for capacity for more growth there? Is there room for more opportunity? It's working well, and sure, there's always room for improvement, but for the most part, you're kind of at the peak. Where are you at?
We missed our goal last year in part to one of our guys got in a motorcycle accident. So it was a month. A little over a month. That hurt our numbers, but we were on a growing trend there, except for when that happened.
Yeah, and we also at our Pleasant Hill location, we have always only had 3 technicians there, and we now have expanded to 5 technicians there on a full-time basis. So we have employee-wise, we're fully staffed there, our technicians, but we definitely are working on increasing the numbers, increasing our count, increasing sale numbers there to help balance that. But that's something new that our 5th technician there has only been there for 4 months, I think. So we're working on growing that.
We have 6 bays. One's an alignment machine, drive on hoist, so that's takes up a bay, and we have 1 flat bay. So we're trying to be more efficient out there. We look at a car, we put it outside, we move to the next one. To keep them moving. We don't. They had a hard time of moving cars out of the bay, and we had to keep yelling at them. But we get them in, get them out, get answers, get them back in. They didn't like moving cars, and we have to do that to be efficient.
Accustomed to 2 bays per tech.
Yes.
We
had to take that away.
We're shifting that change now that we have 5 technicians over there. So it's been a growing experience and learning experience for all of us.
Yeah, no, I can see that. So were there any employees that you needed to replace because they were just unwilling to make a change? The old dog, new trick type thing. There are sometimes some employees just refuse to adapt or adjust, right? And that their way is the only way they're going to do it, and so you end up having to let them go.
No,
we didn't.
Really, we've had this in our plan.
We had 1 employee, but it had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, we've had employees that we've had to let go over the years, yes, of course, but not because of, not because of us changing to 5 technicians instead of 3 or anything like that.
Well, I've seen that kind of a thing happen with DVIs, where a shop goes to a DVI model, and the A-level technician just says no, and then it's a battle the entire time.
Yeah,
we had a
feel like we have weekly meetings with our employees, and we we get their input on things, and then, we may not agree with everything that they say, or they may not agree with everything that we say, but we get their input and we get their feedback, and they get our input and feedback, and we come together and we try something. We come up with a process, we try it. If it doesn't work, then we go back to the drawing board. But we do it as a team rather than us just coming in and saying we're the owners and this is how it's going to be.
We had
Yeah.
we had a young technician that he didn't want to learn. So whenever we pay for classes for all of our technicians, and we want them to learn in this industry because it changes all the time.
Constantly. Yeah.
And he knew everything. He didn't ever want to go to classes. So we implemented that we had to have like 35 hours of training a year, which is nothing. I mean, they could watch videos.
Right.
And he put in his 2-week notice. So that's the only obstacle that way we've had.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was for the best of the shop right there.
Correct.
I mean, a lot of times those things are. But
if you're going to stop learning this industry, you might as well quit because it changes daily.
We
That's right.
also transitioned to a 4-day work week, which our employees, they didn't know if some of them didn't know if they were going to love it at first, but they have since grown to love it. And if we ever went back to 5-day work weeks, I think they would all quit. So everybody gets a 3-day weekend.
All right. Well, here's the 3-day weekends, and that's maybe that's where a good place to leave it. Let's go out to have a 3-day weekend. I think right now it's only Tuesday, but let's think about that 3-day weekend coming up, and how can that be a thing for your shop? And so anyway, so the guys, I really appreciate your time and your story. I feel like we could keep talking, but I also don't want to take up too much of your time. But thank you so much for coming on the Garage Grid podcast. And I just, like I said, I appreciate you guys.
Yes, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Again, the goal is to help shops as many as possible because we're all fighting the same battle, as you said, Rusty. And so, when I hear that type of thing, I know that you're kind of the same, cut from the same cloth that I am, as far as just let's help as many shop owners as possible. And I think by sharing our stories is a good way to start that process. So thank you again. You've listened to another episode of the Garage Grid podcast. And by the way, just like I started, if you're trying to figure out your marketing playbook for 2026, you can jump out to addi.me/2026. That's addi.me/2026. Listen to the playbook that we use at AA Shop Marketing for our customers. That framework is available to you. Go check it out. And meanwhile, like and subscribe. Share this with your friends. Share this with other shop owners. Share this with your tribes, your groups, or whatever kind of program that you're a part of, whether your friends or we said Midwest. What was the organization that you were? Whatever your alliance is, from wherever you're at in the States, share that with them and let everyone know that we're trying to help shops. So thank you again, and have a great day.